Yo, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I do hope you lot are all doing well today, man. I really do hope that. Welcome to today's video, which is about Frank Lampard's Chelsea Football Club and a shocking handful of statistics that would probably leave you surprised and maybe feeling a little bit more positive about the current project. Sure, you can understand the narrative, the feel-good factor of Chelsea's arguably greatest ever player, leading Chelsea as the first team head coach, a great face of the club, an understanding of Chelsea and what makes them great, a leading figure throughout Chelsea's recent history of superb success. A great season last season, reaching the top four, a cup final in his first season as Chelsea manager with a transfer ban, no Eden Hazard, blah 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 blah. But of course, there's problems. Goals conceded. A lot. That's right, Chelsea, for as scintillating as they can be going forward, the last year and a bit they've been worrying in terms of the amount of goals that have gone into their own net, and really that sort of soured the positive narrative. But hopefully I can cheer you up today with a little bit more context of how obscure this record has been. But before I get into that, let me tell you this video is brought to you by OneFootball. That's right, a totally free application that can keep you plugged into the beautiful game 24/7, keeping you updated with all things Chelsea or indeed any other club or international side. It will give you every piece of information you desire, whether that's fixtures, lineups, match statistics, match results, transfer news, general news. You can get it all from the OneFootball app. And like I said, it's totally free, man. You can get it by clicking the link in the top of the description to do yourself that favor. Alright then, let's get into it. Right, so Frank Lampard's just in his press conference for the Sevilla game, and he was posed a lot of difficult questions about recent defensive records and goals conceded. I think Frank Lampard at Chelsea averages 1.4 goals per game or something since his Chelsea tenure has begun, and he was posed that statistic, but he says yes, of course, but I'd like to remind you of something. Since I've arrived, Chelsea are the second highest in the league for the least shots faced. What? The second highest in the league since his arrival from all the teams in the Premier League for shots faced, just behind Manchester City. Yet Chelsea's defensive record was the worst in the top 10 last season. So we're going to elaborate on this a little bit. Let's have a look at the Premier League table from last season. Chelsea, of course, finished in 4th place, joint on points with 3rd place with Manchester United. Chelsea scored more goals than Manchester United, but conceded a lot more. Chelsea conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season, which is the most in the top half of the table. Which of course is not good enough for a team with aspirations to be challenging for the title sooner rather than later. So Chelsea conceded 54 goals, but in fact their expected goals against was actually a lot less. It was actually 41.4, which is actually 13 less goals, which would have made a hella difference. And you know what, man, expected goals against, sometimes people are on the green side, so they actually concede even less than expected goals against. So Chelsea are hella frustrating. For all of you who can't really keep up at this point, it basically means every shot that Chelsea were facing, almost always, were going in. So what does that mean ultimately? It means Chelsea were doing a good job in open play from keeping the ball away from their own goal, from offering the opportunity to the opposition to take a shot on goal to try and score. So Chelsea were, or have been, second best behind Manchester City at this point for keeping the opposition to minimal shots. Now you have to look at that and go, that's a good thing. That ultimately represents a good defensive mechanism of play. Of course, Frank Lampard's Chelsea is synonymous as a poor defensive team, which in many ways is true. I don't want to use this video and say, well, Frank Lampard's a defensive tactical genius, because he's not. He's a new coach and he's got problems. But the fact is, this record kind of like reeks of being relatively unlucky and having weird, like, you know, individual errors and just peculiar instances. And yes, the elephant in the room, Kepa Arrizabalaga. I'm not out to, you know, shower hate on Kepa. I think he's been through a difficult time, but the fact remains, if Chelsea had Ben Foster, relegated Ben Foster in goal last season, they would have easily been third place and well clear of Manchester United, in my opinion. So I tweeted this out today for a little bit more context from last season. After 29 games, Chelsea were by far the worst team for conceding goals to shots faced. So from all the shots faced to Chelsea, they conceded 44%. Basically like a 1 in 2 chance of the ball going in the back of the net, which was ridiculous. At this point of the season, after 29 games, Chelsea were second only to Liverpool for the least amount of shots faced. They faced only 4 more shots, yet conceded 18 more goals. So what does that tell you? That tells you these players, this goalkeeper, these defensive players, when there's a shot, it goes in. Now, that's very, very difficult for a coach when you've coached a team to do good, free-flowing attacking play, and it's working, and it's looking good, and you're minimizing the opposition's chance for actually converting goals, yet when they get the chance, they just score. Largely down to Kepa, and yes, that's kind of dribbled into this season as well as, I know people don't like to hear it, but it's true, individual errors. Now, it's important I mention at this point, Frank is not completely absolved of this issue. He doesn't seem to be, I don't see a great defensive coach in him, and of course it's the manager and head coach's responsibility to instill a mentality in your defenders so they don't just concede goals to every shot they face. Granted, he's not a defender and it's up to the defenders themselves to be professional footballers and instinctively want to keep the ball out of the back of the net. Remember like prime Chelsea, John Terry, Carvalho, they were like disgusted at the concept of conceding a goal. In the 2004-05 season, they conceded only 9 goals from open play, Carvalho and Terry. Amazing. And really, it's that kind of mentality that we need to bring back into the Chelsea defenders. Like, look, that ball doesn't go in the back of the net at all costs. With Edouard Mendy in goal, I don't think Chelsea will face anywhere near that peculiar metric and stat of shots faced to shots conceded, because he will inherently just make good goalkeeper saves, and Chelsea will be a lot better defensively when you look at the record at the end of the season. But something's still got to give, and it's unacceptable at the moment the amount of goals Chelsea are shipping. Yes, you can put the blame on defenders, goalkeepers, individual errors, but it's Frank Lampard's responsibility to make that change as well. Even if tactically he's set up okay, yes, they could be weak in transition, something collectively has to change. It's not about blaming the manager, it's not about blaming the defenders and the goalkeeper now, it's about pulling together as a collective and resolving what is a big problem. But I hope this video has highlighted this situation. Since Frank Lampard has joined Chelsea, his Chelsea are second only to Manchester City for least shots faced. Yet they're one of the worst in the top half defensively. That has to be down to personnel. A lot. Not entirely, but a lot. So anyway, a little bit different this video today, something a bit more stats based and really asserting a message rather than a Chelsea news video or a match preview / review. Let me know what you think. Get down into the comment section below and express your thoughts and opinions on this video today. I want to hear it, man. If you've enjoyed it, please do drop a like on the video. Remember to subscribe if you're new, only if you want to, mate. Other than that, I'm out, so enjoy the football, and I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, bitch.